What's up guys, Nsima the Center, Inyang here. Now you can tell from the title of this video, let me say, what did I probably title it? The Mental Steroid and Observation. I think that's a good title, so this is before I've done that. Anyway, it seems a little bit vague, it seems a little bit odd, and you probably don't know what I'm gonna lead this into. Let me tell you. You guys have probably heard about visualization and cognitive imagery and these words, and the word visualization especially has been bastardized by like the self-improvement sector and like, you know, the success sector, because people say, you know, if you visualize, you know, visualize to materialize and all this kind of stuff, right? Now visualization isn't bad, but it's only good if you're able to visualize things, and then if you're actually able to utilize these things in practice. So you can't just visualize $1 million and then a few days you're gonna have $1 million. No. But let me explain why this is so important to myself and why I think it's a mental steroid in the athletic context. A little bit of backstory to how I got into this. When I was 16 years old and I got back to playing soccer from my former injury, my soccer coach, Marcus Mercado from my youth, every time we would have a game on like Saturday or Sunday, the practice before on maybe Thursday or Friday, he would literally sit us down on the field, tell us all to close our eyes, and then he would describe little things into the match. So all of us have been playing soccer for maybe about 10 or 9 years at this point. So we were fairly adept in, you know, how a game goes. We played hundreds of games at this point. So he would, you know, give us little minute details. Like he would say, you know, Nsima, imagine passing the ball to Conti in midfield, and then all these little things that we would have to think about. And like, imagine catching up to a defender, or all these little details, right? And then the next day, right before the game, he would again sit us down in the middle of the field, not in the middle of the field, but maybe towards our side of the field. And, you know, the opposing teams would think we were weird as fuck for this, but he would again tell us to close our eyes. He would tell us, you know, to imagine running back and forth on the field, all these little minute details that only an adept soccer player would know. At first I thought it was weird. At first I thought it was a little bit stupid. But over time, I found that my game started to change little by little. I became better at certain things because I would think about them first. You know, I would visualize it first. And then I started to build this habit into before I'd be going to the gym. You know, I would think about how the workout would go, all these little things. And in between my sets, you know, let's say I was doing a set of squats, I'll think about all the little things I do during a squat. So I think about descending into the hole, creating torque when I'm coming out, bracing, all these little minute details that an advanced lifter would know. And I found that over time, I started to become more adept at lifting. Now, one can say, oh, Nsima, it's just because you were lifting for so long, that's why you got better. Or it can be argued that it's because of all the visualizing that I did leading up to this. Now, I didn't know there's been research done on this until I went to Greg Nicholls' website and I read an article about it, which is going to be linked below if you guys want to know more details about this. But I would suggest, okay, that in between your sets when you're working out, if you're a newer lifter, obviously you won't know all the little things one must do, you know, during a deadlift, like creating torsion off the bar when you're twisting, bracing your lats, twisting the floor with your legs. You won't know all of these little things, but you'll know cues like taking slack out of the bar, you know, driving your hips forward. You can visualize these things before you get into the bar and you can lift. And it's almost like you're able to do more sets in your mind before you get in and you actually do the lift. And you can do this between every single set. Now, I'm gonna link Greg's article, and then I'm also gonna link the research below that he cited showing that this actually tends to work over time. Now, obviously, you know, if you started by squatting 315, it's not like you're gonna squat 500 pounds in 6 weeks because you visualize squatting 500 pounds. But when you guys see videos of me doing PRs or videos of me working out, you notice that before I do a certain set, my eyes are usually closed. I'm usually quiet. I'm usually calm. I'm not screaming. By the way, that's just how I lift. I'm a really calm lifter. But what's going on in my head is I'm thinking about all those little mental cues that I do. I'm thinking about having a successful lift. Does that always lead to a successful lift? No, not necessarily. But I have a good feeling that that is why I have such good ingrained mental cues, because I think about doing these things multiple times before I do them, multiple times during a workout. So if I have 5 sets of bench, I'm thinking about doing a bench again, maybe for another 5 sets. So it's almost like I did 10 sets of benching. Now don't get it twisted. I'm not saying you're benching 10 times just because you visualize it, but over time, because you've thought of these cues so much, they become autonomous and it becomes something that is actually normal. And it becomes something that It becomes more natural over time because you think about it so much. Now, let me get into the observation aspect that I talked about in the video title, observation. Luckily, I'm training at Super Training now, and I'm able to see a lot of guys that bench, that deadlift, and that have very strong squats, okay? But the bench especially, because the bench is my weakness. So, having Mark, he changed up, Mark and the guys over there, they changed up some of my bench for now. I'm seeing a lot of the stuff they're doing. I'm able, like literally, every set that I can, I'm staring at them and watching what are they doing during their bench that I'm not doing. And I've been able to take away certain cues because I've been able to observe better lifters than me at certain lifts do these lifts continuously. And then I think every time before I do a certain bench press, I think of the exact cues that I should be doing, keeping the elbows in, pulling the bar into myself, pushing the bar out towards my eyes. All these little things I think about before I do the lift. Does that always mean I do these things perfectly when I lift? No. But this means that in my mind I do it perfectly, and over time that's going to lead me to being able to have a better lift over time in the future. Yes. So, what's the takeaway from this? What I think is an actionable thing that you guys can do is go ahead and between every set, instead of pulling out your phone and going on Instagram, which I'm guilty of doing every now and then, don't get it twisted. Maybe if you go on Instagram, after you do that, before you do your next set, give yourself 20 seconds to think about the lift you're about to execute. Think about all the cues that you yourself know to execute before you do the lift. If you're about to squat, think about how you're going to tighten the bar on your back. Think about how you're going to, brace against it and like bring your hips to full extension before you start. Think about how you're going to descend into the hole and keep bracing. Think about how you're going to push your hips forward as you come out of the hole. Think about all these little cues, and also try and maybe be almost in a first person point of view when you're visualizing these things. Don't be in third person. I tend not to like that. You can, but try and almost feel like you're under the bar and you're looking at the ground, or you're looking wherever you usually look when you do this, and you're doing the rep, okay? And then try, I know some of you guys train by yourselves. George Munoz, yeah, it's a good idea if you try and get yourself in a gym with other people, but it's always good to try and find a training setting where you're not the best. That's why I'm very happy that I'm training at Super Training, because I am far from the best lifter in that gym. Far from the best lifter in that gym. There are so many things I pick up from a lot of different lifters that help me to become a better lifter. So try and be in a place where you can learn from what other people are doing. If that means you gotta make maybe a little bit of a commute to train with better lifters, go ahead and do that. But it's always good if you can be with better people than yourself, because over time you will learn more, okay? So, visualize, observe, execute. All right, I think that's it. I think that's a question of the day. What mental rituals do you take before doing any type of activity? So this could be a mental ritual that you take before doing a test, or before meeting with, meeting with a significant other, or lifting, or whatever. Do you guys have any mental cues or mental rituals that you do before a certain activity? That was a vague question, and I don't know if I'm gonna get a lot of answers on that, but I want to. So think a little bit and then give me an answer. If you like the video, go on and like the video, because I know you like the video, so go on and like the video. Comment, don't be a lurker, and subscribe to this channel. If you're extra caring, you'll share the video. This is Nsima the Centaur Inyang from Break the Bar, Be an Anomaly. I'm gonna let the lifting footage roll, and I will talk to all of you very, very soon.